What's up, my dudes? Yo, MX versus ATV. I appreciate that follow on Instagram a little while back. That was pretty awesome. I know it was just a small little follow, but I'm telling you, dog, that made my life right there, dude. That was insane. Being able to get followed by a game company like that you play the games of, I don't know, man. It's just it's pretty. It's a surreal feeling. Ain't no doubt about it. So either way, MX vs ATV got a big update coming out, and when I say a big, massive update, I literally mean a huge update. I'm not just trying to over exaggerate clickbait. Like we got a lot of stuff here. This ain't no joke. I mean, this is big. This isn't just like let me try to hype the video up just to hype the video up. Like this is whenever I say big, I mean big. So let me get into this tree real quick. Let me get into this actual post that they just posted. So this was posted technically 5 days ago from when I'm making this video. So yeah, let's maybe like a day off from when I actually upload it. I'm not exactly sure, but okay. So it says, perspective is everything. Our brand new drone cam will debut in volume 2.6, which has finally been completed and gone into testing. So they have this whole entire drone cam, which is like, never really thought that would have been in a motocross game. That's interesting. I think that would be cool to have that on like MX Sim, and which you kind of do have it a little bit. You have certain little like pre-positioned cameras and stuff you can do on MX Sim. It's pretty cool to see this on MX versus ATV. But this is not even the big stuff, guys. This is just this kind of the one thing they're kind of showing on their Instagram page. So you'll be able to kind of have a drone cam where you're really looking far off in third person, really being able to look at your whips from way off, like crazy side views and stuff like that. You guys have probably seen some of those videos of real life, motocross drone cam stuff, and that's kind of what it's looking like. So, I thought that tree would help me whip that bike back around, boy. That worked out real well. Okay, so they go on to say a few features you can look forward to. By the way, just saying, they say has finally been completed and gone into testing. So apparently pretty much everything in this update has been completed. Now they're just testing it. So we'll be getting this update pretty soon, guys. This is not like, really far out or anything like that. But basically they say, a few features you can look forward to. Drone cam, new time of day lighting for every outdoor environment. Our biggest graphical and performance overhaul, true 4K, 2 new tracks added to Flying Moto Ranch, ground physics tweaks, okay, like the sound of that one, boys, overhauled tuning system, and the addition of chassis tuning, which adjusts bike weight or steering sensitivity for those looking for a more simulated experience, and more. So this is a lot here, guys. Like, I was not expecting this. I was kind of thinking they were just, pretty much done with All Out at this point. I mean, they did all of those paid DLCs and stuff, all that extra track content, but I thought they were just kind of, starting to get away from the game a little bit, but apparently not. I mean, they're still going all in on it, all out on it, baby, you know what I'm saying? I mean, this is insane. Not only do we have like all this graphical update stuff they're talking about, which will be really interesting to see that side of it, because, I mean, with All Out, and of course graphics aren't everything, right? Obviously, I've always spoken about that. That's pretty much the last thing you should worry about in a motocross game is the graphics of it. If you ain't even got the filling on the bike and all that right, graphics ain't going to help shit, really. You know what I mean? Like, you need to focus on the gameplay before anything. That's my sort of opinion on it. And, but yeah, so basically, they're apparently acting like, it's going to be biggest graphical update ever to this game. So this game's going to look entirely different. You're going to have full-blown true 4K for some of you guys that have that. I don't have that. I just have 2K, so won't really be able to experience that. But for some of you guys that are wanting to get in on that, you can definitely do it. New time of day lighting for every outdoor environment. So that'll add a little bit of variation to all the different outdoor tracks and stuff like that. Man, where's that track editor at? MX vs ATV. That's really what we want, dog. But these are all cool changes. And then obviously 2 new tracks added to Flying Moto Ranch. I guess to me, it just feels like we're in that day and age where it's like, you could sit there and add all the new DLC tracks in the world, right? It just seems like you could sit there and just add track after track after track after track. And it'll be cool, but it won't be 1/100th of what a track editor would be. You know what I mean? It's just like when you release the reins of the damn track editor, like, oh my god, bro. It's just incredible. It's unbelievable what kind of content can start getting made for games when that happens. So if it doesn't ever happen in All Out, I definitely want to see it in the next MX vs. ATV. I think it's just expected out of these motocross games. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like having a create a class in Call of Duty at this point, in my opinion. Or just any of that standard stuff you expect in those games nowadays that weren't necessarily in the older games. Well, a track editor in a motocross game, I feel like is just... it's just generic. It's just expected. Like, it's just, you at least should have a track editor in there. I mean, we had it on the PC version of Reflex. We have it in MX Simulator. We even have one on the official Monster Energy Supercross game, even though it's not really all that extensive. We still do have one. So, that's what I'm getting at. If MX vs. ATV really ever wants to start competing to that true level, they're going to have a track editor. And I'm not saying you can't still release cool DLC tracks and stuff like that, because you still can do that and release really cool, like, one-of-a-kind type made stuff that's going to be obviously probably on another tier than a lot of the user-created custom tracks, but, and I think that's part of the reason why they don't put a track editor in, is because they fear that, like, well, shit, now everybody else is just going to make all the content for the game, and we won't be able to make any more money off of DLC. I'm not saying that's what MX vs. ATV is thinking. I'm just saying... I could see where they would think that, right? And the official Monceu Supercross game is sort of running into that issue. I mean, they came out with their, LA Coliseum DLC track, and there was people that made that in the track editor like a day later. Pretty much the same exact track, 99% the same track, right? So there was literally no reason to buy the DLC. Same with the Monster Energy Cup. You can make a track that's 99.99% like that, new Monster Energy Cup in the Supercross 2, the official video game. So it's like, there is literally no point in buying that DLC at all. But I think there's ways they can really still make interesting new track DLC and, make it come out with some cool official new gear or something. I kind of look back to the days of Reflex, on like 360, that sort of DLC I thought was spot on. Thought it was really cool. Thought it was well-made tracks, different design tracks, and obviously came with the whole Geico gear skins, came with the No Fear energy drink helmet. You know what I mean? It's little stuff like that would be cool in DLC, like come out with a Red Bull helmet in All Out, or the next MX vs. ATV game, or a Monster Energy helmet, or something sick like that would be worthy of DLC, in my opinion, if it came with the tracks, and then maybe a new bike that comes with the tracks. I don't like when they split DLC up and make it more into like little bitty microtransactions. I don't like when they do that. I like when it's more like true old school DLC, you know what I mean? Like it's a big pack that you buy for like, I don't know, $5-10, and it's got new bikes, new, energy drink helmets. It's got new tracks, cool, full-blown, one-of-a-kind tracks, you know what I mean? And the whole 9 yards of it, and then you get that full package. I think that's the better way to do it, in my personal opinion, instead of paying like $4 or $5 a track, $4 or $5 a bike, a bike skin, all that bull crap. Not the biggest fan of that, but so where this all gets interesting here, right, is, I mean, the graphical side of it's cool, the drone cam's cool, that's all cool, right? But when they start talking about physics changes and this is crazy. So it's like a overhauled tuning system in general, right? So that's just, apparently they're changing the entire tuning system of the game. You guys know the tuning in these games, especially in Reflex, made a big difference, changing the tire, grip or looseness. Obviously engine can change kind of top speed, acceleration, kind of sort of like changing the gearing, that kind of vibe can change all that. So apparently they're overhauling that. That'll be fun to check that out when they do that. But not only that, but then it's the addition of a chassis tuning. So this is kind of like that little option in Reflex where you can adjust when you go in on your tuning. You got like 2 different options with 3 different settings apiece, right? So it's like a steering, and then it's something else. Can't remember what that other one is on Reflex, but there's 2 options there where you can basically make it like quick steering, medium quick steering and like slow steering, right? And I think the other one is braking, right? So you can make like quick braking, medium braking, or slow braking. And so that really gives you a little bit of that adjustment of like, not to a simulator extent, obviously, but it gives you a little bit of the adjustment of like, if you're new to these motocross games, you don't have to have that like super steering, feel like you just steer way too quick, and you can have it a little bit slower, a little bit more mellow. And then once you get better at the game, you can make the steering quicker, right? So you get more of the steering. You can go faster in the corners. You can whip harder, scrub harder, all that kind of stuff. And then once you get into reflex, that's what I call the true reflex physics. I think a lot of people get a little confused at this, and I could only understand, like, let's say you go in there and reflex, don't really have any clue what the hell you're doing, and you have the slow steering automatically turned on. Oh, God, 10 out of 10 landing, boys. You got the slow steering turned on. You're like, what the hell is these physics? I can't turn with the shit. It's kind of like if you get into MX Simulator and you don't play it long enough to get your stability super low, then you probably think MX Simulator sucks. You know what I mean? It's that, like, you've got to understand that these games have a lot of little options, a lot of little tuning changes, a lot of little stuff going on. And so you've got to get deeper into it to understand that. But, yeah, basically, this might actually change I would assume it would change their whip filling and the scrub filling of this game. And I think I don't know. I mean, to me, I felt like All Out needed some adjustments on the whips and the scrubs. I feel like it's just a little bit too mobile, nitro, arcadey, do a triple, quadruple, 360 no-scope backflip. Like, I liked it more like in Reflex, where you felt like you were doing, and of course you could flip it all the way backwards on Reflex and still land it, but there's a more, I don't know, mobile, like old, outdated feeling to All Out to it. It's got, at least I can say, it does have free whips, thank God. They're free, right? You can whip pretty big in this game, big as you want to whip, just about. You can do turn-up whips, all that shit. So at least they're free, right? Thank God. At least we're improved from the days of MX vs. ATV Supercross, but I do think it needs some TLC, needs some adjustments. So we'll see how that chassis, actual, the chassis tuning and all that, being able to adjust the steering sensitivity and all that will affect that. So it's apparently going to give you more of a simulated experience. That's interesting. But then not only that, it's obviously also the ground physics tweaks, they say. So they're going to continue to work on the ground physics, which you guys know has been a little bit bizarre and All Out, especially on some of those default motocross tracks. Kind of, I know it had a big problem with kind of bounced into corners. It was bizarre. It was like they kind of mixed like a old MX versus ATV game, like an Unleashed or an Untamed, and then tried to like bring it into the new world and add bigger whip fillings, but it just didn't correlate as well because that's such an outdated filling compared to like reflex cornering and even some of the milestone game cornering physics. It just feels a little bit outdated, I guess is the way to say it, with All Out. So they're trying to improve on that. I don't know how much you can really do in one game until you're going to get to the point of just like, all right, let's get in there and make the Reflex 2. Let's just do it, MX versus ATV. I know you've been told this over and over and over again. I don't even know if you have the license or the permission or the whatever the hell to make a Reflex 2, but good God. Like, that's what everybody wants. I'm just saying, that's what everybody wants. That's what's going to put you back on the top. That's what's going to completely blow those milestone games out of the water, is if you come in there. I mean, this is the ticket, guys. I'm just telling you. Reflex 2, very, very similar physics to Reflex, air and ground. Obviously, the whole 2-stroke, 4-stroke, all that, the really cool, kind of supercross track filling that you had on Reflex, kind of the motocross track filling. Not saying it has to be the same exact game. That's not what I'm getting at, but just very, very similar, but just newer tracks, newer outdoor, newer supercross tracks, newer waypoint tracks, maybe some cool trail tracks, all that kind of stuff. Get your track editor in there on the PC of the Reflex 2. You do all that and make the physics at least like 90% like the first Reflex game, and obviously with better graphics, dude, you're literally going to print money. Like, I'm not even joking around. You're not only going to print money, but you're also going to print, like, appreciation, and you're going to get all of the old school motocross fans back into it, and you could potentially make that game that's going to last a decade. I feel like All Out is just a stepping stone. It's like, okay, we went kind of down a weird route with Alive, and then we went down an even weirder route with MX vs. ATV Supercross. So now it's like they're going back. Got to Reflex, right, and then it was downhill to Alive, downhill again, and hit rock bottom with MX vs. ATV Supercross, and now they're like back on the uphill with All Out, and I feel like we're going to have another game before we can even remotely get back to that like Reflex filling level or longevity or gameplay replayability and all that kind of stuff. I feel like we're going to have to get to that point, but oh my God, the amount of copies you would sell of that, the community, all the people on YouTube that would come form around in that and making tracks on the PC. Oh God, dude, like that would just be insane. Could you imagine that Reflex 2, dog? Like, MX vs. ATV, you got to understand how long that would last and how many people would buy that, and like how many people would continue to buy that year and in the track editor on the PC, people would buy that for years and years later. You still got people buying the Reflex on PC just for the track editor and the custom tracks, and the damn tracks are like not even really working. You can't even get a Reflex Central account anymore. So you can't even hardly use the track editor on the original PC version of Reflex, but people are still buying it just for that, right? It's insane. Like, you got to realize what people really want, and that's it right there. At the end of the day, that's really it. Something just like Reflex, but just updated in every way, but still keeps that core feeling, that core track design feeling, skill gap, all that kind of stuff, core customization and tuning that Reflex had. You got to kind of keep that in there, and then just update everything else. Update the graphics, update the track looks, update obviously the bikes, all that kind of stuff. And then you even throw in like a 50cc bike on it, and a couple of other little bikes in there, dude. That is the ticket, without a doubt. So either way, it'll be cool when they come out with this new update for All Out. Either way, but All Out, I don't know, man. I just feel like it's kind of getting to that point where it's almost ran its course. I do feel like it's lasted a pretty good amount of time for what it was, and especially with all the track DLC they've came out with has definitely extended that some, but. Really, if we're looking long-term, you're going to have to make that Reflex 2 or, something along those lines. You're going to have to get more closer to that, right? Because really, that's what, at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. I know it seems kind of weird to try to backtrack and do all that, but that's, at the end of the day, when it comes to arcade motocross games, that's really what we all want. Could you imagine like a Reflex physics, right, with a official Monster Energy Supercross game graphics, and like if you could mix the sort of the track designs of Reflex, but then put like the skin of official Monster Energy Supercross game on it, right? Oh my God, could you imagine how sick that would be, dude? Or if like you could have MX Simulator physics, right? But then put the graphics of official Monster Energy Supercross game on it. Holy shit, dog. Like, it's just insane when you think about, like, feel like at this current point, we've got a lot of motocross games out here doing certain things good, but not everything, like, perfect, right? And the reason why MX Simulator is not doing everything perfect is because it's from 2007, right? Obviously, it's going to have outdated graphics, and same way with, Reflex coming out all the way back in 08 or whenever the hell, 09, I think it was like 08 or 07 something when Reflex came out. So it's really, really back there like when MX Sim first came out. So those games are going to have outdated graphics, but their physics and their feeling on the bike holds true. It's timeless, dog. It's going to last forever in those games. So that's what I'm getting at. It'll be interesting to see that level of like physics and on the bike feeling and track designs and all that we've come to know and love over all these years, but just with a newer updated look and feel and like graphical and all that kind of system to it. But yeah, really that's what we're looking for, man. No seat bounce button, same controls of Reflex, same whip controls of Reflex, all that kind of good jazz, all that kind of stuff. but just with better graphics and better looking tracks and stuff on it with a newer, updated track editor. And they can do a lot of cool things with the new track editor on it. So either way, talking my head off here, boys. Appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Go give MX vs. ATV, I guess just MX vs. ATV on Instagram. Go give those guys a follow if you want to check up on all their different, updates, stuff like that. It's normally, they're pretty active on their Instagram. That's basically where most of their stuff is posted. So if you want to look at that, you can definitely go follow them up. But yeah, dudes, appreciate you guys watching all the videos. Later. I will literally shit my pants if they put like a Reflex 2 teaser on their Instagram. Oh God, I'll be like, it's over, bro. Goodbye, Milestone. It's over, dog.